Well, hello, welcome back to the RC Barn. I'm your host, Mike. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Wait, before you go anywhere, I'm going to show you basics of drill presses and how they apply to our hobby and why you need one. And also, we're going to get into some techniques that will show kind of where these things stand and the accuracy of them. It sure beats using a drill, a handheld drill all the time. So stick around and we'll get into this. So, anyways, I just wanted to kind of go through this real quick. It's just the basics of a drill press and why you need one. I have a little desktop version here from Harbor Freight. They're not real expensive, but if you were going to start digging in and getting into more advanced setups here and maybe some bigger tools than that, a drill press should be on your agenda to get. You don't need a big one. I'll show you one here, the one that I have. You guys have been watching the channel for a while, seen this thing. I use it pretty often. A handheld drill still has its parts, if you can't get the piece in here and that. But anyways, this is just a 5-speed bench top drill press from, like I said, from Harbor Freight, but you can get one pretty much anywhere you want to go these days. The bench tops are pretty common. And anyway, some uses and why we have a drill press in the shop. Well, when you're drilling out big motor mounts for your motors and stuff, we need to make sure that our when we drill through they're getting drilled straight and true. Sometimes when you're on a handheld, it's kind of hard to have that kind of accuracy. So that's kind of where the drill press really shines, is being able to be accurate when you're drilling, because it's just because of the way it is, it's more stable. So things you're going to need when you do purchase your drill press, so I'd highly recommend that you get a drill press vise. This guy is a little big for my table. The reason why it's not the right size, they do sell a smaller version of this, but this one was actually cheaper than the smaller one, and I didn't realize that there was a difference. So when I bought this one, I thought, well, that's probably the one I need, and it wasn't. So I do end up when I need to make multiple drills here, clamping it down to my bench, because it's just a little to the bench here. It's just a little big. Now this thing can be moved around. The table can be swiveled. Sometimes that's handy for getting things in here. Also can be moved up and down, especially when you get into some of the small sizes like we do. I use these guys down here all the time for my airplanes. But yeah, actually, I'm gonna have to find my 16th. Oh, it's in my drill. See, yeah, we're always making holes in the in our airplanes for screws, fasteners, stuff like that. You'd be surprised how many holes you got to put in an airplane when you get them built. But anyways, a good drill bit. I have had this DeWalt guy for many years. I only use it in the shop. It doesn't go over to my cars and stuff and get used on metal. So I've had it for a long time. This kit is actually still available at Menards. I think it's like $30 or something like that. It'll last you a long time, as long as you take care of your bits and not overspeed them. A couple other things you might want is like a hole saw. These are handy for like putting lightning holes and stuff. And of course, Forstner bits. I think that's what this is called. I have a few of them. This is my 3/4 one I use the most for like putting holes in firewalls for fuel tanks to come through and stuff. Yeah, anyways, that's a couple of things. So the whole discussion of this kind of came up in the live stream last Saturday night. I was attempting to put a dowel rod in here in the canopy, and it has a hole in the center, and the glue set up before it got put in place, so I ended up actually breaking that to get it back out. So I need to make another one because there's no more in the kit. So that's the gist of what we're going to go through today. So anyways, if you need to put a hole in the center of a piece of dowel rod here, this is about how you would do it. So we got a piece of dowel rod that fits that canopy just fine. I do believe this is 3/16. No, it's actually bigger than that. I just look at the compare what hole I need to drill to how big my diameter is. If I could spit that out. So that is 5/16. So biggest thing here is we're just going to drill a 5/16 hole. I got a piece of 2x4 in here. And if you guys ever watch any machining shows like I do, like Lonnie Hacks and stuff, you'll hear her say contricity is very important in the machine shop. Now we're drilling through wood here, and so it's, you know, we don't have to go to the thousandths of an inches like machinists do, but what we're going to do is I am going to basically drill a hole down through here. I don't want to go all the way through. I want to have a stop at the bottom, and I want to have enough. That's probably pretty good there. So at this point, you do not want to move anything, but we do need to make a drill bit change here to drill a smaller hole. We're basically making a drill guide here. You can use drill guides for lots of stuff, like you know, if you gotta put a hole, say, in a piece of aluminum, like a, you know, aluminum motor mount or whatever, you can make a drill guide for it. It'll keep your drill centered more properly. Drills are not known to be accurate in their hole. They tend to wobble around a little bit, and that's where you get loose. That is where you get loose fitting stuff out. So anyway, put that back in the holder. I am going to drag my drill stock, here. I'm just going to cut, about that much off of it. I'll just use my bandsaw here real quick, and we'll make a small piece. I turn power on. Now we got a smaller piece of stock, and we're just going to see if this fits in here. Okay, it's a little tight. What we can do is take our 5/16 here. Oh, wrong way. I'm just going to clean this hole up a little bit. You want a kind of a tight fit, but not so tight that you can't get the thing out of there. I'm going to take it over to the sander and bevel the edges a little bit. I'll probably make it a little easier to go in. Well, that still does not want to fit in there. I wonder if it ain't 3/8. No, it's definitely not 3/8. Oh, there we go. Just gotta wiggle a little bit, and go tap, tap, tap. Don't have to go down all the way. And then I do believe I'll have to get the we have the hole we need. I know I measured it before. Anyways, this is going to be a through hole to accept this nylon screw here. So we'll have to see what we need there for a clearance hole through the center. And boy, it looks like 1/8 inch will be spot on. Now let's see what happens here. not worried about going through the whole thing because it's not going to be this long. But there you go. Easy peasy. Hole in a hole. So anyways, that's one technique you can use. Something like this, like you might be asking, you know, what are you going to use this for? Well, like in the instance of our cow here, it's being used as a hard point. Yeah, see, it's being used as a hard point, and what we would do, I'll go ahead and CA this in and then knock the excess off. And when we, actually this is used as a drill guide also in the canopy, because this screw goes down through here, and this is what locks it in. So, if you watch the classic bite video where I did the flying wires, I mentioned the hard point. You could do that with these two. If you don't have hard points in your stabilizer or rudder to put flying wires in, definitely use this technique, because you can drill a hole right through your stabilizer into some soft balsa wood and put one of these guys in there and then have a through bolt through there, so that way you're not crushing down on balsa to be a lot stronger. That is the whole point of these. I don't use them very often, but once in a while they do come in handy to make. So anyways, that's kind of the gist of all that. Some of the other things that you can do, like I said, you can put a motor mount in here. I do it quite often, you know, something like this. Clamp that bad boy down, and then you can, you know, and when I'm doing motor mounts, I'm generally moving around on the force pivot point, so I actually won't loose. I'll keep this kind of loose. This is the bench, and you can swivel this guy around to get to the different areas. So yeah, anyways, a drill press is a super nice, see if you can see me here. Yep. A drill press is a super nice feature as far as adding, you know, tools and stuff to your home shop. I mean, even if you're not a builder, a drill press is nice. And, you know, maybe if you guys ask nice enough, I'll go over the scroll saw and do that. And then also the bench top sander here. I use this thing all the time. I usually wear out a piece of sandpaper at least once a year. And for 60 grit, that's saying a lot. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and if there's anything else that you would like to see tips on, or trades or whatever, how to do stuff, just let me know down in the comments, and I will be sure to post some videos about that stuff too. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching, and remember, if you can't, if you can dream it, you can definitely build it. We'll see you next time. Like I started it like a month ago, and I played